Okay, this is our 2024 collection update video. This year we made some milestones. Number one being we finally filled out the top 50 cards in my tracked list. I always set a $100 limit, and this is the first year after about 3-4 years of serious collecting that I have all 50 cards ready to show you guys. Going to start off as always with the fallen soldiers, as it were. These are the cards. I had exactly 7 cards fall out of my top 50 for various reasons. A few of them ended up going down in value, and some actually just stayed the same and got passed up. So that's the case for the Jose Ramirez red, target red border in the back. It didn't do anything and got passed up. The Soto kind of was another one that just stayed put and got passed up. And the rest of them went down. So a few of them that, I expect, and that's really what I noticed when I track this, is I understand why things are moving the way they are. Not everything is just going down. Not everything is just going up like it was in 2020. Being the Miguel Cabrera, it decreased, it fell out. The guy had a Hall of Fame career, 3,000 hits, 500 home runs, but he's retired. Nobody's thinking about him. Nobody's buying his cards. The Arenado, he had a pretty bad year. The Devers, he's just kind of never done what people thought he could do. And the one a little bit scratching my head is front and center. I've got a couple of his cards, and the Yordan Alvarez market just got smoked. And I really think that it might be a buying opportunity. Now, there are a few things that go against him. Number one, he's a DH, even though he does get tons of playing time in the outfield. People are going to be thinking of him as a DH. And of course, he plays for the Astros. Despite the fact that he didn't really have any allegations to the sign stealing mumbo jumbo. But the dude is just young and he can hit. He's easily a top 5 hitter in the game, as evidenced by his 172 OPS plus. There's only 3 people in all of baseball that did better at that stat than Yordan. That would be Ohtani, Judge, and Soto. So if you're thinking about a guy that just knows how to hit, and his ability to see the ball and hit it hard, those things are going to last for a long time. So, he's had his injury for sure. He's had about 2 years that, the knee went. If he can just maintain health, I know it's a tough, prediction, but it might be something interesting to think about as we continue this, watching his career, since he is still young. And out of that 2020 class, right when a lot of people got back in the hobby, he might be the guy. So I'm going to put him away now. I'm going to zoom in on some other cards. The first, number 50 in my collection, is this Roberto Clemente. Let me zoom in here a little bit. This was my most recent pickup this year. This was actually a gift from my dad. He does like to give me the vintage cards, which is awesome because they're awesome cards. I am putting together a 1959 Topps set, and my goal is to get every card of a Hall of Famer in some grade. Now, typically I do PSA and SGC. This was a gift, obviously, but I'll tell you, the CSG slabs are probably my favorite because they are so clear. It looks as if I'm staring at a raw card. Some of the other slabs, you get a little cloudy, and of course, this even has all my slabs have plastic covering over it to protect the slab itself. So you can imagine what this thing would look like without the slab. But coming in at number 50 at $107 is Roberto Clemente, 59 Topps. Next up, 49, is my Bowman Jose Ramirez, state and hometown. I'll try not to repeat myself for those loyal viewers, all 2 of you that have seen the prior year videos. So really, I'm just going to kind of comment on new cards and things that pique my interest. Here is number 49 at 110. That's the Jose Ramirez, state and hometown, the good DR flag in the background. Here's a new card in my collection. This one is number 48. It is the Topps Fence Busters in an SGC 7. As with all cards in my collection, when I buy a card, I'm predominantly looking for eye appeal. This one is pretty much on the edge of my tolerance of centering, but it was so crystal clear on the surface, I couldn't pass it up. This one here is 114 and number 48 in the collection. Just to get a little quick Shout out, what I like to do each off season is pick out a book or two, some baseball history, and read it. Last year I did read Willie Mays autobiography 24, and that's where that card ended up coming from. I didn't realize he was such a philanthropist, and his best friend on the team was Willie McCovey, which is why I purchased that card. Next up, this one is coming back at number 47. This is my Larry Doby Bowman. You notice the perfect centering, incredible card for a 6. And this one's down just a slight bit. And I notice I usually will lose money on cards that I buy because I buy up on eye appeal on vintage. So this one was probably the most expensive PSA 6 sale last year because I thought it was the nicest PSA 6, and I ended up buying it. 48 Bowman, that is going to be 114. And next up is another brand new card, Louis Tiant. Now, he's not a Hall of Famer, despite the fact that he conceivably can get in someday. Again, this one's 115 at number 46 in the collection. And again, I'm down a little bit on what I bought it because I paid up for a really nice looking 7. And at the end of the day, if I ever go to sell these cards, people are going to pay more for my cards because I prioritize eye appeal and things of that nature. Next up is Bryce Harper. This is his gold out of Update. So there's, of course, that weird short print. This is his first mass-produced card, first parallel in flagship. Ended up getting this. And, Bryce Harper's one of those guys. He's just had another solid Bryce Harper season. Typical 900 OPS, typical 30 home runs, a ton of RBIs, but only 5 WAR because he's a DH right now. So I'm wondering if he gets healthy and he plays a little more outfield, first base, that 5 could easily become 6, 7, 8. Who knows? And he's coming back from injury. 30 home runs is not bad, but it's also, he could improve on that. So I'm thinking Bryce Harper might be the bounce back guy for next year. His stuff is down. It's soft. Could be a time to buy. Speaking of being down, is Hobby Darling Ronald Acuna Jr. Now, I ended up buying and grading this card. One of the first cards I ever graded when I got back in the hobby. So I'm doing okay on this card, but boy, it is coming for a ride. Now, Acuna, this is a card that's been down. A lot of cards, and I'll show you guys what I love about what I'm seeing in the hobby is many cards were low and have gotten higher recently. This guy's the opposite because it makes sense to me. He's been hurt. He did not get a single WAR this year. Obviously, he only played 50 games. He had very little power. I mean, he got a hand injury. That's what happens, guys. So he's down. And I'm thinking about all this kind of thing in line with you guys. He might be another guy to think about on the short term because I am a little concerned. He's 27. He's only got 23 WAR. That's not a lot. We do know with Ronnie, what he showed us the year prior, he could easily rip off 8, 9, 10 in a season. If he comes back and has an MVP season, imagine what this card could be. The opposite of that, if he comes back and kind of flounders or God forbid gets hurt again, these could go even farther. So be careful with him. He might be a very risky play, but he's got a lot of upside too. Okay, next up, number 43 in the collection. This one comes in at $130. And by the way, guys, I'm still using VCP graded vintage guard prices, average sale, so they're pretty accurate on the pricing of these things. Here's my 2, Roger Maris rookie. Always wonder what would have been if the Tribe hadn't traded him away. Can you imagine that? Would he have kind of stuck around longer, playing in New York in Babe Ruth's shadow? Would he had a better career, a longer career? Because obviously he had all the talent in the world. Okay, number 42. This is my Bob. I'll spit this way. My Bob Gibson, the second year SGC 6. This card again has very nice east-west centering, but the top down, if I were to put it, right side, It's pretty rough, but I bought it again because of just how nice the centering and crisp coloring looks. Some of these older cards get a little washed out or they get stuff all over them. Not this card. It is vibrant. It looks like it's pack pulled yesterday. Now, last of this group of cards here. Here's one I graded this year. Ended up getting the 10. I actually waited for about 6 months until I found a copy on eBay that I thought had a chance at gemming. Ended up getting it because of that color match. I mean, powder blue and Kansas City are just, you know, that's the color you think of when you think of the Royals. It's valued at 130 right now, but I would never sell this card for that. I feel like it's gonna be one of those chase cards for a while with the rookie cup, the color match, and the fact that it looks about as gem as you can get. All right, here's a new card, another one of my new additions this year. This is my Hank Aaron, 1960 Hank Aaron All-Star. Definitely love the way the card looked this year. It had that funky 1960 in the back, the dual color. It looked amazing for the grade of a 6, and I really loved it. Eventually, I'm going to own all of Hank's playing day cards, but this is just a great one to kind of start getting there. This comes in at number 40 in the collection at 135. Next up, I don't have this one currently in possession because it's away in my eBay vault. I decided last year it'd be a smart idea to pick up Julio Rodriguez. I thought he was primed to have a monster year. And so I bought it on the eBay, and that was when they just started their vault. So I decided I'll ship it there, you know, or I'll keep it there, and nothing. I can sell it no problem when he lights up the league. Well, Julio Rodriguez sucked, and it's way down. But again, it makes sense to me. The cards that are going down make a lot of sense to me, and I feel that's a good thing for the hobby. That is 137. Okay, next up, coming back, the only card that came back into the top 50 is my Juan Soto 2021 Chrome SP. Now it's green. Don't ask me why I bought a green Soto. But I was kind of obsessed with collecting the SPs, still am. So I've got all of the SPs in PSA 10 except for the more recent ones. I got them raw. I'm looking to grade them eventually. But I do like the shot. I think it's very unique. I think this was his last year in the Nationals jersey as well. So kind of interesting when you think about it. Picture here, Soto kind of packing his bags and leaving on the way out, which is what happened. But you're back in 142. This is another card. I kind of start thinking of it as like this smile card. 2022, it was higher. It dropped in 2023 and then right back in 2024. And I love to see cards like that. Next up, we have Jose Ramirez. This is his base Chrome card. Very low pop card when I bought it. And I've noticed I'm kind of tracking where his stuff is. There's just a lot more of his stuff being graded. And his stuff, and there's a few of them because he's my favorite player. Jose's stuff has just constantly ticked up. It is up about maybe 20% from last year. All his cards seem to be continuously jumping. You know, that's kind of what happens when you just perform year after year. He's a Gold Glove, Silver Slugger machine. He's the heart of the team, and a whole group of people like me are just going to collect them forever. So you love to see guys with one team because they're going to build that fan base up like crazy. That's number 37 in the collection, $145. Coming in very similar price. This one maybe is one that just didn't really move because there isn't any other sales from last year because it's numbered out of 10. So I'm going to kind of think about that when I build my video next year. The ones that don't really have any movement, I may not include them because I do want to track cards that are just a little more fluid. This is same price, $145 as last year. Okay, next up, number 35 in the collection, just a little bit higher. It's coming in at $146. This is my Ozzie rookie, and you know, like, how is this already $146? Where are you getting this price from? should be about 100, right, for a PSA 7? Well, no, because if you look right there, it's an OPG. And I love OPG cards. People think that it's just the Gretzky rookie, but they made all kind of other cards. Baseball, football, non-sports. They had, a great little run there. Generally, it's the same card. I think it's French on the back as well, though. Yes, it does have the French back. That's where they get it from. Where they get the French back parallels from today, I assume. But here's why I love them. It's a pop 178. The same Topps card in a 7 is 941. So you're talking about over five times less copies on the planet of Earth. I love that. Not to mention, overall, there's 3,000 graded. If I were to get this card in a Topps holder, there's over 15,000 graded Topps Ozzie Smith rookies. So love to see it. It's a unique card. It's just, it's not a parallel, but it's just a different way of buying the card, and I really loved it. That's why when I can, I'm going to buy the OPGs, I'm going to buy the Leafs, I'm going to buy the weird things because I think that they're just that little extra tick of coolness. Here's a new one to the collection, kind of just because I'm a, Tribe or Guardians fan here. Here's my Hal Trotsky PSA 6. Not many people remember Hal Trotsky for who he was. Interesting that he never made an All-Star game, despite having some ridiculous years. Years that would be MVP caliber if it was in today's game. Because there were a few other guys that played first base in the 30s. You might know some of them named Lou Gehrig and, plenty of others that played. He was an absolute legend in Cleveland. The problem with him was medical. When I do a little research, mainly it's citing some migraine issues, his eyes. And back then, it was basically a death sentence for hitters. If your vision went, there was no corrective surgeries. There was no medication like we have today. You were pretty much out of a job. So that's why not many people know Hal Trotsky anymore, because he lost it almost within 1 year. Went from MVP caliber to nothing. So he's my card that's coming in. Let me see, number 34 at 150. Next up, this is kind of a strange one. I want to say, no, it's back up. So this one is back up. I'm loving it. Most of my cards are back up too, which is really awesome to see for a lot of reasons. But last year, 4 of the cards that I showed off actually increased in value. This year, something like 20 of them increased in value, which is a great sign for the hobby. I truly think that the bottom of the hobby was 2023. And we are now, it all makes sense, and it's going what you would predict. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about ultramodern. You're going to get your the next hot quarterback or shortstop, and they're going to be worth $1 million, and within 6 months, it's going to be half that. I'm talking about veterans. I'm talking about vintage. The cards are making sense again. Here's my Bowman, Warren Spahn. This is up again. Another classic, just before the junk wax era really started. Tony Gwynn, rookie. Not much to say about Tony. He was a legend. This is, again, I'm just calling them smile cards. It was up in 22, it was down in 23, back up in 24. Here's a card from a good friend of mine. Bought this for me. This is my error card. If you know, you know. It's up to 155, which is actually kind of funny because the next card is from the same good friend, Stunner Sports Cards. This is the gold Jose Ramirez refractor in a 9.5, coming in at about $165, probably because I pushed this card up by accident when he bought it for me. What I love about this card in particular with the modern players, and even Jose in 2014 kind of got away from the worst of it, but there's so many damn parallels nowadays. It's a topic for another video, but what are people going to want long term? I'm a Jose Ramirez collector. I want gold Jose Ramirez. I want finest. I want chrome. I want SPs. I want autos. I don't want all these other different things, weird colors. Give me the good stuff. Gold is one of those colors that is going to always be relevant in the hobby, and the big releases, I do think finest is a big release. At least back then it was. Maybe not as much anymore. I think Sapphire kind of took a lot of the finest shine away. But once again, a great card. Okay, where are we at here? This one is strangely down. I don't know why. This is kind of only one of the few head scratchers. My Yastrzemski rookie. Maybe it's because of the 4.5 and they do some weird things at that. There's not a ton of them, so a few lower sales. Now, of course, I bought one that I thought was fantastic looking. It's got the freaking stupid blue bubbling here like all of them do, but otherwise it's very sharp. The surface is damn near perfect, and it looks good. Again, this is probably one I'm not going to include next year because it did stay consistent. I do think Chubb would probably, if I listed this card, it would be lower today than it was. I don't think there's a lot of sales of this one in the PSA 10. The pop's quite low. The closest I can do to a color match, because I didn't get the orange, is this well, it is an orange, but it just kind of looks bronzy to me, and I like that style as well. Okay. Iconic card. What can I say about this? It's a 9, and it's an old 9. And at first you're like, holy crap, old 9s suck. But goddamn, this looked perfect. Centering, sharpest corners. Love the card. Absolutely great pickup. This is coming in at about $180. Okay, now for some bad stuff. One of the few that just the market tanked, but it makes sense. This is my Trout. Paid a lot of money for it raw, ended up grading it, got the 10. This was my most expensive card at one point in my collecting journey. Back in 2022, it was valued around $500. Today, it's $180. But again, it's Trout. It makes sense to me. He's been hurt. The biggest loser in my collection, and I wanted a chrome Trout rookie, and I thought this was the one. Because I love the batting stance. I love the way it looked. But now the more I think about the card, one, it's in a Beckett holder. It's not doing good. This is my biggest loser of any tracked card. It's down over about $200 from last year. I don't know what to do with Beckett. Could it get a gem? It might. It might even be better. I have to look at the pop, but it could be a 9 PSA might be better than a 9.5 at this point. So really, what's the drawback? Snap it out, see if I get a 10 and see where I can go. I will tell you, if Trout does come back strong, MVP caliber season, he has the ability to rip 10 more in a single season. And he's already up around 80 or 90, something crazy like that. He'll get back quickly. When I buy modern cards, this is the kind of card I buy. Here's a SP, Leaning on Railing SP. I picked this up for very little at the beginning of the year and ended up just exploding in value. I don't know what people were doing with this card. Maybe they just forgot about it. Maybe they forgot about Judge. But he had another just insane year, and it went way up. Okay, number 23. A card I graded myself, bought raw. Was hoping for the 10, but it got a 9. Hands on Hips Soto. Again, an SP. These are the modern cards I buy. Coming in at 185, number 23 in the collection. Okay, this is actually new to the list, but I've had it for a while. This is my Joey Votto Gold, coming in at 190. For whatever reason, it wasn't selling very high. I guess, well, it makes sense because he retired. So this is probably the only year that you'll see this guy on it. I'm sure over the next few years, he'll be forgotten about until the old Hall of Fame talk starts heating up. Tatis, yeah, great guy to bet on. When I got back in the hobby, I spent a lot of money on this card, and it's just progressively halved like every year. Obviously, he's PD stained. I don't know where this card goes. It's a 10. It's a beautiful card. This is probably the chase card for a while in the hobby. The Tatis, people were just, it was the Luka. People were buying them. People were grading them. People were flipping them. But what am I going to do? I'll just keep it for a while and see what happens, I guess. Ted Williams. My only Ted Williams card. This is 58. It's up. I love it. I don't know why it's up, but I'll take it. This is number 20 in the collection. LeBron's Market. Woo. Been a roller coaster. This one looks real good. Why I bought it. I'm not going to tell the story again, but I'm into this card for something ridiculous like $40 or something. So I can't really lose. Okay, this again, Jose. I love color match. Like that's my thing. It's doing solid. All of Jose's cards are just steady year-over-year gains. If he continues to rip, last year was 6.8 WAR. If he continues to rip at that pace, he only needs a few more, and he's a lock for the Hall of Fame. Here's the thing that helps him out too. Of the top guys, he had a 265 batting average on balls in play, which is much lower than the guys above him offensively, which means for those that aren't stat nerds, he got really unlucky with his hitting. Hits that should have fallen, didn't. And yet he still managed the season he did, almost a 40-40. If they had played that last game, I promise you he would have had that 40-40 season. So it's incredible guy. He's still very early 30s. Did not get lucky at all at the plate and still got almost 7 WAR. So, I mean, I love it. It's going to continue going up. Okay, next up, we've got the All-Star rookies here. Here's one of the cards. Let's see. I think I just got mixed up a little bit. Blue Fractor. Ooh, Ricky Henderson. Here we go. Ricky, he's up. Unfortunately, he's up because he passed away. R.I.P. to the GOAT. Unbelievable career. I don't want to get into too much stuff, but I mean, when I buy cards, I buy nice cards. It's centered like crazy. It's crispy. Love this card.